What is going on, guys? Coke 600 weekend. We've got F1 at Monaco. We've got the Indy 500. And of course, like I said, we have the Coke 600, one of the crown jewels in NASCAR. Such just an amazing event. And really, honestly, a tough thing to bet on. For me, at least. And, I struggle with super speedways just because, anything can happen, right? At super speedways. That's one thing. And then I would say, look, I don't like struggle with Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Coke 600. But it's a long race. It's a long race, 600 miles, an average of about 12 pit stops. So, this is a challenging race. I feel like I have a good understanding of who's going to be the best cars there. But again, you look at last year's Coke 600. Yes, one of the best cars, if not the best car, Denny Hamlin won that thing. But 413 laps, the longest Coke 600 ever. A few overtime restarts, like anything can happen. You are never out of it. And on the flip side, if you're out of it early and that's your favorite driver, a guy that you bet a lot of money on, man, that thing drags on. So, look, it's challenging, but I do feel like I have a really good understanding of what we're going to see this week. So I guess with that, let's get, real quick, all-star race, won again, Kyle Larson. Pretty simple bet, honestly. Little upsetting that, I don't know, not upsetting that Larson won, but just upsetting how the race went. It was, just a win in dominating fashion. I guess good for us because we never really, I don't know, we never really stressed about it, but that was kind of the safe bet. So, I was won some good money, but if we had that Logano one, man, that would have been good. That would have been really good. So anyway, Coke 600, let's get right into it. Got a few winners. I got a prop bet and then a top 10. And then, as I always say, probably we'll have some more bets later in the week as we see practice, as we see qualifying, as we see kind of how this race track is going to be operating with the weather and whatnot. Could be getting some rain. So a lot to really kind of digest here. And so Johnny on the Track, Action Network for all my bets, post practice, post qualifying, post this show, and of course at JOTT_podcast on Twitter for the full betting card. But on Action Network, just in case anything comes late, which, like I said, I'm sure a lot will. Definitely want to be tuned in to see what I'll be putting on there. But let's get into the winners. So I guess my number one winner this week is Chase Elliott plus 900. Yeah, I'm fading Byron, and I'm fading. I am fading William Byron, and I am fading Kyle Larson this week. I just feel like I said, and Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is another guy that's up there in the top three in betting odds, rightfully so. Those three guys have shown, I guess maybe to a lesser extent Hamlin, but you look at Larson and Byron, they've been the class of the field this year in the class of the league. I think Hamlin has had good cars. I think he's been good at a lot of racetracks, obviously has the Darlington win. But I don't know. I feel like the Coke 600 is one of those wild cards where, because it's so long and because it's, so much has to rely on that final stage there, that stage 4, if you will, because remember, there's 4 stages here. First 3 stages, you'll get points, and then the last stage is that final one. But that's what it comes down to. And you could be running well for the first half of this race, and things could change. It's just a long race. That's plain and simple. So Chase Elliott, if you've looked at Chase Elliott this year, the trend has been he has not started well. He hasn't qualified well, but late in the race, he clicks, he has speed, and he drives his way to a top 10. I think at a track like this, at an event like this, it may only take 2 stages for Elliott to hit that sweet spot. I find him to be kind of um, really cool, calm, collected behind the wheel, doesn't rush things. And I feel like this event will play right into his hands, especially a guy, he's looking for a win. And I feel like this is a place where Chase Elliott could say, I can get a win. Obviously, road courses are, his bread and butter. But you look at a track like this, an event like this, I think it's right up Chase's alley, especially with the way he's been racing, where that team seems to click later on in the race. So Chase Elliott plus 900 to win. I think it's a good bet. Bet number 2, Martin Truex Jr. plus 850. I like the number, and I like what I've been seeing from Truex this year. Second fastest overall in green flag speed and just total speed in general at 1.5 mile tracks this year. A lot of people wonder kind of, hey, where do you get those stats from? Let me give him a shout out. iFantasy Race. Ryan is his name. iFantasy Race, .com. He's got all the stats you need, whether it be, from 2022 to 2023, just 2023, green flag speed. What else does he have? Front runners, intermediate tracks since 2022. He's got all these predictions. He does a really good job with his stuff. So the stats from iFantasyRace.com are really, really good to see. Because a lot of us, right, we have the eye test of what we've seen overall this year. But to really look at that speed overall is great to have. So shout out iFantasy Race. Ryan is his name, like I said, iFantasyRace.com. Definitely should check that out. But anyway, Martin Truex Jr. plus 850, second fastest overall in speed on the high speed 1.5 mile tracks. I like to think this year Truex is back, but if you really want to cement that Truex is back, I think a Coke 600 would really seal the deal for a resurgence type of year for Martin Truex Jr. Kevin Harvick plus 1,800, the next winner. It's a long shot bet. It's a long race. I think a lot of people, including myself, were very, very, very high on Kevin Harvick at the All-Star race. Why? Well, because he ran good at Richmond. He ran good at Martinsville. I just thought, maybe there was something there. The motivation of driving in the 29. I don't know. I played it, right? Like it was a bet from the heart, if you will. And he was awful, quite frankly. But let me tell you something. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. A bet from the heart. Not a lot of stats, but the last time Kevin Harvick won the Coke 600 was 2013, 10 years ago. What a story. 10 years from now, he wins his final Coke 600 plus 1,800 to win this thing. Again, not a lot of stats to back this one up, but I'll tell you this. A race like last week where Harvick was good early on and then faded, it was a short race. It was a quick race. So he didn't have that recovery time to get that car back up front. 600 miles. You got plenty of time. So if Harvick is struggling early, like like he did last week, maybe he's not. Who knows? But if he is, it's a very, very long race. Again, not a lot of stats there, but just bet from the heart. Kevin Harvick, 10 years since he's won the Coke 600, his final year. He's running a badass paint scheme. You can check that out on Stuart Haas Racing's Twitter. It's friggin' awesome. So again, I don't know. Maybe it's a stupid bet, but I'm going for it. And then finally, a really, really dark horse underdog winner plus 9,000. I also like him for a top 10 if you can find it for good money. Austin Dillon. He's a past Coke 600 winner. He almost got the job done here last year. And I think this is a sneaky bet. If you look at the team, right? Kyle Busch locked in the playoffs, 2 wins. Now, I'm sure old RC, old Richard Childress, is really just dying to have both his cars into the playoffs. And honestly, I'm sure he's looking at Kyle Busch and saying, I can win a championship this year with Kyle Busch. I know, the results haven't been steady enough, I think, for Kyle to win a championship, but he's got 2 wins. right? He's got 2 wins, and he's got Austin Dillon, who just always finds a way to get into the playoffs somehow. Hasn't been good this year in points, so at this point, a win would be the way to get Austin Dillon in the playoffs. Plus 9,000 for a guy that's won here before, who's kind of pulled off some magic at this racetrack and has collected good finishes here. I think it's worth a shot. I think it's also worth the top 10. Prop bet, Bubba Wallace, top Toyota. He's been really good. I mean, he's been a beast on these type of tracks this year. Let me see if I have. Here it is. I want to get the number right. 5th overall in speed ranking on 1.5 mile tracks. High speed, I should say, 1.5 mile tracks. So the numbers say that if Bubba Wallace just runs a smooth, clean race, he should be here in the top 10 when it's all said and done. I think we saw he kind of flipped somebody off. I don't know who it was, but hey, flip everybody you want off when you're in victory lane this weekend, Bubba. But hey, maybe he's 3rd place and he's the top Toyota. That's fine with us too. But hey, victory lane, you're the top Toyota. You're flipping everybody off. I'd love it. Hey, I would absolutely love it. So Bubba Wallace, top Toyota. Like I said, I feel like if he just runs a clean race, the car is very, very well capable, and that team is capable enough of running up front, really. And then finally, top 10 for Harrison Burton, plus 2,000. I just think it's an absurd number here, especially for a guy that's coming off his first top 10 of the season at Darlington. Now, Darlington, sort of a track of its own, but it is a high-speed track. So he also, I listened to an interview with Harrison Burton, and it was very interesting. He basically said, like, we've had some really good speed in this car. We just haven't been able to maintain said speed throughout the duration of the race. They were able to do that at Darlington. So can this momentum carry over to another 1.5-mile track like Charlotte? Possibly. I think so. I think it's worth a shot at plus 2,000. That's a $100 bet to win $2,000. That's a $50 bet to win $500. Is there something there to throw a little bit on Harrison Burton? I think absolutely. And again, we look at what happened last year. I'm going to talk as I get this up, but I think 2 overtimes it ended up being 413 laps. So a lot happened in that last like stretch of the race, right? And I'm going to give you the top 10 of this race. Guys like Stenhouse Jr. was 7th. Michael McDowell was 8th. Harrison Burton finished 11th, almost had it. Ty Dillon, 13th. So a lot of big names were kind of up in the top 15 because, like I said, all hell broke loose at the end of this thing. But look, I think, as I said, it's going to be a tough race to predict. You might feel stressed at points, but remember, this race is a marathon. So you're never out of it. I promise you that. Unless that car is in the garage and out of the race, you are never out of this thing. It's just what happens at the Coke 600. So real quick, let me run through these again. Chase Elliott to win plus 900, Truex to win plus 850, Harvick plus 1,800 to win, and then Austin Dillon, you sprinkle a little bit on there, plus 9,000. Also the top 10 for Austin Dillon. Bubba Wallace is your prop bet, top Toyota. Harrison Burton, top 10 plus 2,000. More will be coming. I can promise you that, especially I don't like rain in the forecast for Saturday. Does qualifying get rained out? Maybe. So got to put that into perspective as well. Johnny on the Track, Action Network. That's where you find that stuff at JOTT_podcast on Twitter for any updates in the full betting card that drops on Sunday. Let's have a day. Let's have an absolute day on Sunday. You've got the Monaco Formula One. You've got the Indy 500. Then you've got the Coke 600. If you're a motorsports fan like myself, you're going to enjoy this weekend. Always want to hear what you guys think. Put it in the comments, please. And then like this video. And of course, if you're a first-time listener or viewer, definitely subscribe for more content. Thanks.